All set? Okay. Good afternoon. Before I begin my prepared comments today, I'd just like to extend a big thank you on behalf of the federal government, the United States Attorney's Office, and the FBI for the tremendous work done this morning by the Rochester Police Department, the Monroe County Sheriff's Department, the New York State Police, and the other law enforcement agencies that work together in apprehending the shooting suspect this afternoon, or earlier today, late this morning. I actually witnessed firsthand the chase from our offices upstairs. I looked out the window and we saw the chase with Doug Gregory, who heads our Rochester office, and Brett Harvey, the head of our violent crime section. And that really brought to light the danger that these law enforcement officers face on a daily basis. With 85% of our law enforcement being state and local law enforcement, they truly are the front lines in our fight against violent crime. And I just want to commend them for their professionalism today and for bringing it to a successful resolution, that high-speed chase. It could have been a lot worse than it was. And obviously then, too, our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims of the shooting. Now to the business at hand. Joseph Errigo, an assemblyman for the 133rd Assembly District, has been charged today in a criminal complaint with bribery and honest services wire fraud. Those offenses carry a maximum possible sentence of terms of imprisonment of 10 years and 20 years, respectively. The charges alleged in the criminal complaint, which have been filed against him, arose following the formulation of a plan a little over a year ago for a bribe to be paid to a member of the New York State Assembly, someone identified as Member A, someone other than Assemblyman Errigo, so that member, Member A, would introduce certain legislation. The bribe payer and the lobbyist were part of that plan. The legislation which was sought to be introduced involved reducing the extent of local control over a pending development project in the Rochester area by vesting the review authority with that project with the New York State Department of Transportation. In September of 2017, the lobbyist suggested utilizing the defendant, Assemblyman Errigo, rather than Member A, to introduce that legislation so that that bill would not be traceable to Member A. Then, beginning in late September of 2017, the bribe payer made a series of payments to both the lobbyist and Assemblyman Errigo. First, on September 26, 2017, the bribe payer gave the lobbyist 2 envelopes, each of which contained $1,500 in cash, $3,000 total. In accepting them, the lobbyist stated that he would use the money to, quote, grease the skids with Errigo. Then, on February 9th, 2018, the lobbyist, the bribe payer, and Mr. Errigo met at Mr. Errigo's Pittsford office, and the bribe payer gave Errigo another $1,500. On that same day, the bribe payer emailed the lobbyist the specific language for the proposed legislation that they wanted Errigo to introduce. On March 16, 2018, the bribe payer made another $2,000 payment to Assemblyman Errigo. Then, on March 27, 2018, Assemblyman Errigo introduced a bill which consists of the proposed legislation, which was assigned a bill number. On that same day, the bribe payer gave the lobbyist $2,000 in cash for his help in getting the legislation introduced. And then, on April 13, 2018, Assemblyman Errigo was paid another $2,000 in cash for obtaining a bill number. In May of 2018, the FBI approached Assemblyman Errigo, and during his interview, Mr. Errigo admitted that he accepted the money from the bribe payer. All told, the bribe payer paid $10,500 to Mr. Errigo and the lobbyist in order to introduce the legislation and to begin the process of obtaining its passage into law. The message today is that the legislative process should not be up for sale to the highest bidder. By misusing his elected office to line his own pockets, Assemblyman Errigo has, as alleged in the criminal complaint, undermined the integrity of our legislative process and abused the public's trust. The United States Attorney's Office for the Western District of New York, in partnership with the Federal Bureau of Investigation and our other federal, state, and local law enforcement partners, will remain vigilant in our efforts to root out such corruption and to hold those responsible accountable for their actions.
As Mr. Kennedy stated, my name is Gary Lofer, and I serve as the Special Agent in charge of the Buffalo Field Office, which includes the Rochester Resident Agency. First of all, I'd like to thank the United States Attorney's Office as they have proven once again what great partnerships, what great partners they are to the FBI here in Western New York. Elected officials serve in positions of trust. We trust that our elected officials will make decisions free of undue influence. This is why public corruption is the #1 priority of the criminal program for the FBI. Bribery and power are not good for our constituents. This is simply a bribery matter, and it came to light to our agents here in the Rochester office, began investigating it. Again, took it to Mr. Kennedy's office, and this is a result of, the results speak for themselves, and this is why we're here making this announcement today. Again, I want to thank the United States Attorney's Office for their partnership, and thank you for your time.
The bribe payer, was he or she area developer? Can you say anything about that?
Really can't comment beyond what's in the four corners of the complaint at this time, but obviously that will come as this case moves forward. That information will be forthcoming, I'm sure.
How was the FBI tipped off to this? How did the original investigation begin?
Again, I don't want to get into too much. I'm bound by the information that's contained in the criminal complaint. Again, I expect, you know, my response will be stay tuned. I'm sure that information will come out further as this matter proceeds.
But can you say if it was a specific person that came forward?
Again, it was the FBI has a number of ways of gathering evidence and collecting information, and as a result of those efforts, which they do, I mean, they're vigilant in their efforts to root out corruption within our system. As the special agent in charge said, it is, in terms of criminal programs at least, our #1 priority. So they're always working very hard to try and ferret out if there are individuals who are willing to offer their positions up for sale, and when it came to light in this case that there was perhaps some willingness to do that, that's when we proceeded.
Jane,
Yes.
what was the pending development project?
It was a development project. Again, it wasn't specified in the complaint. I think the bill number's in there, at least the number, so I mean, maybe with a little investigative work. It's just not, we're limited as to what information we can reveal, which has been publicly filed, and so that, to the extent that's not listed in the criminal complaint, I'm just not going to provide that.
Was the piece of legislation ever introduced and ever voted on?
It received the bill number, and which is the first step in the legislative process to becoming a law, so to the extent that it received the bill number, that is an official act, is our position.
And was anybody else arrested today?
No comment. There was no, I mean, to answer the question directly, no one else was arrested today.
And any other day yesterday?
No.
No one else has been arrested with this case, only Assemblyman Errigo?
Not at this time, not yet.
What is Mr. Errigo's status? Was he arraigned? Did he make bail or anything?
I'll defer to Mr. Field to answer that question.
He appeared, was arraigned by Magistrate Judge Payson, and was released on his own recognizance.
This other assembly member, did they, what's their involvement in this fund more than just kind of what's listed here? Are you able to say? I mean, are they potentially facing charges, or were they kind of just part of the investigation?
Anyone who breaks the law will be brought to justice. It's our intention to do that, so I mean, at this point, I'll just leave it at that. This investigation remains.
Yeah, the next court date scheduled by the court is on November 20th at 9 o'clock in the morning for a status conference.
So no other charges yet against anybody else involved?
Not yet.
How many total parties, I guess, are kind of involved in this, including?
The investigation will continue. We'll leave it at that.
Did Mr. Errigo ever discuss whether he should continue running for election while possibly under FBI investigation?
Again, that's beyond the scope of anything that we have something to say about.
Will the legislation be halted in the state assembly? Do you know if that's something that could happen because of these charges?
Again, I'm not going to comment on the sort of the collateral consequences of these charges. They speak for themselves.
Did you say the bill number is in the complaint?
I believe it is, yes.
Let's see.
What's the status of the Assemblyman's job right now?
Again, that's not within our purview. I think that's a matter for the New York State to handle.
Was the Assemblyman arrested today?
He was surrendered and he made his initial appearance today on these charges.
Is he in custody still?
He's, as was indicated, he's released on his own recognizance.
Do you know what day he was alerted to the criminal complaint? Was that today? Or
I'm sorry?
Do you know what day he was alerted to the pending criminal complaint? Was that today or was it?
I don't have that information. The bill number is A10227, as reflected in the criminal complaint.
A10227.
Correct.
Okay.